YouTube, what is good? It has been a minute since I've posted or put up anything on my channel lately. I know, my apologies to y'all. I've been busy with the Rich Barber mixtape. I did have other footage that I wanted to use, but I've just previously gotten a new Halo light, and the footage I've taken with it recently I've loved. So this one I just shot today, so let's get into it. This is a high taper that I did on my boy right here. He does get a 3 on top. Start off on the sideburns, bald him out from that top of the arch going all the way to about where it connects up to the ear. And then grab your Andis foil shavers. Go ahead, take that damn near all the way up. And I did forget to take his hair all the way down at first. I was kind of really excited to get into this tutorial, so we're just gonna go ahead and speed that up real quick. Pretty self-explanatory. Go ahead and dust him off, make sure he's all nice and clean surface to work with. Then we're gonna start with a 0 close on my Fade Masters. Go up about 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm just gonna take my Fade Masters close, no guard, and go from closed halfway to open, working my way up about maybe like 1/4 of an inch every single time until I reach the top of that first made guideline. And then I actually work my way back down, as you'll get to see here. It's just really playing with the lever, making sure everything is smoothed out. Now, what you will notice throughout the whole video as well is that I do spend most of my time within this area of balding out. And now I'm just gonna take my Oster speed lines, open, go about another, maybe even just a 1/2 inch right now. Still keeping that same initial shape, and just working my way from open to close. But I do take most of my time from the no guard close to the 0 guard open transitions, because this is probably about the tightest part of the fade that you really want to focus on. Right now I'm gonna take that 0 guard open, but this is what's really gonna make the fade pop. Gonna close that 0 guard up, go up and knock that little first line out, go close halfway open, then work my way down, make sure everything's all nice and tight. But within this region of a no guard close to a 0 guard open, you want the tightest transition possible. You want to make sure all those lines are taken out, because that will make your fade pop the most. Focus more on that section of your haircuts, and I'm willing to bet your haircuts will start turning out better and better each time. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and take a 2 guard all the way open, go up about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm gonna go ahead and work behind the ear, like I said, a little bit, just to make sure that transition goes in nice and smoothly and it's not too dark behind the ear. And I'm just gonna work my way down from open halfway to close. Now I only went up 3/4 of an inch because I do take my 1 guard right after and open that thing up, open halfway, close, and playing with the lever back and forth as well. The reason why I do that is I just find that creates a little bit of a tighter fade for me. I like the way my fades turn out when I do that technique, and when I do go with a 2 and work my way down to a 1, it really keeps my fades a little bit lower and not as high. Sometimes if you work your way up through all the guards, you tend to push your lines up and push your fade up a little bit more than what you would want to. Now I'm just gonna kind of blend out that very top line with a 3, working it out with a 2 as well, kind of taking out any dark spots that I do see left behind. He does have a little bit of darker hair and lighter skin complexion, so darker spots will appear a little bit more prevalent. So I think that's the word, prevalent. I think I used that word correctly. Fuck it, you know what I mean. They'll appear more easier to the eye to see. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and work on the back taper. Now the same steps that we just did on the side taper. Now I'm not doing a taper fade. This is a 3 all the way around, so I'm not really connecting it around the sides of the head like you have seen in videos before. Those are kind of more taper fades in all my videos before, actually, any tapers that I've done. This one is just a true taper where the whole head is one length, and then just putting your tapers in, nice and simple. Working with the 0 guard, going about 3/4 of an inch. On the back of the head, you do want to take the bald line a little bit higher than you would naturally. You don't want to take it up too high. I like to take it to right around maybe like that earlobe section. When I'm standing behind my client and I look behind them and I see the line lining up right with kind of like where the earlobes start at on my client's head. That's usually where I like to start with my high tapers. For my blends, I usually elongate and stretch out my blends a little bit more than most would. I just like how the blend comes out with the way I cut. Some people, when you watch them cut, their blends are nice and tight, so they can take that bald line even higher. Now, the higher that you do take your bald line, do keep in mind that you do want to keep your blend more compact. because you don't want to be pushing that blend and stretching it out too far up the head, because then it's gonna turn to a fade. Trust me, I have fucked up before on somebody's head. I remember that's probably like one of my worst fuck ups, was doing a high taper on the back side of somebody's head. I remember it was like midsummer, the shop AC was broken, I was sweating freaking bullets because I was like, oh my god, I'm spending like 45 minutes just on this back taper. He knows I messed up. Thankfully he didn't really trip too much. He came back to me later on, he understood. But yeah, don't go too far up on somebody's back taper, because it's not gonna look good, and you're gonna be stressing out trying to make it fit a little bit lower on the back side of the head when it's not gonna go anywhere. You already fucked up. Now we're gonna go with the 2 again, about 3/4 inch up, always flicking out. Now when you do go with the 2 guard, and when you get to a 1 guard and a 2 guard blend, I always like to flick out the harshest. And the reason why I work my way down instead of working my way up with a 2 guard and a 1 guard is, like I said before, I don't want to push that fade or taper up too high. I stretched out and made sure that everything was nice and tight. The no guard to 0 guard blend, the 1 guard to the 2 guard, I really want to keep as low as possible on the head. I want to make sure the darkness of the hair is staying low as possible to kind of create that nice, just almost seemingly effortless blend throughout the fade. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and take a 3 guard and make sure all that top part is nice and blended out. Take a 2 guard over that as well, make sure everything, all the dark lines and dark areas of the head are blended out. And then we're gonna go ahead and start on that neckline of always pushing down that ear with your index finger to make sure you get a nice view of around the ear. You always want to make sure, like especially around the ear, you get a nice sharp line. You don't want to push that line up too far. Really, you don't want to push that line up at all. But you do want to make sure it's sharp. You don't want to follow the most natural line possible back there. But if you practice, it will get easier. You will find out techniques. You want to be using that edge of the trimmer and that corner of the trimmer around the ear and kind of dragging it along that half circle, and that'll give you that nice sharper cut. Last side of the taper, I do my tapers 1 taper at a time. I don't really, you know, ball everything out and then kind of go in step by step. That's just how I like to do my tapers. As of right now, I know probably a year ago, actually, you probably wouldn't even see me do that. I don't even know what my technique was a year ago. As a barber, you're always trying new techniques. Your techniques are always changing week to week, maybe even month to month. I don't even think probably from like 3 months from now, I'll probably be even cutting with the same technique at all, even lining up the same. You know, I always get people asking me, hey Deluxe, what is, you know, give me some advice on how I can get my haircuts better. And most of the time I usually tell people, yo, immerse yourself into YouTube, literally watch every YouTube video possible until you're satisfied with where your fade game is at. You always want to make sure you're trying out new things, trying out new techniques, and pushing yourself to new limits until you damn near mastered the way of fading, the way of tapers, the way of styling, whatever it is. You always gotta be pushing yourself. So always be watching different YouTube videos. Not only me, of course, you definitely want to be watching my videos, because I definitely spend a lot of time on this, but you also want to be watching other people's videos from different areas of the world, different areas of the US, and see how people cut. I know people in California cut differently than people in Miami do. So you know, learn those different techniques, learn how different barbers cut their hair and go about setting up their haircuts and achieving their looks, and apply some of the aspects to your game. Now we're gonna move on to the lineup. First, I'm just gonna comb out any of the hair that is still kind of scrunched up in his hairline. I'm gonna spritz him down to make sure that lineup comes out nice and sharp. And then I'm just gonna start from the center and work my way to the sides. Now my boy's hairline right here does have a few harder spots to get at. His hair kind of grows in different angles. Kind of in that front, you kind of see it swooshing to the right. It has a little bit of a cowlick, kind of gets a little lighter in certain areas as well, and then other areas are grown out. On this hairline, I definitely did take my time with him. I gotta make sure that his hairline is as best as I can, as natural as possible without pushing it back. So you're gonna see me combing out the hair a lot, kind of brushing down hair to make sure that there are no longer hairs poked up in there. You're gonna see me spending a lot of time kind of in the middle of the forehead too. That is where like that cowlick and that growth kind of goes from pushing the hair forward to pushing the hair to the side. It creates an awkward line, and it's a little bit harder to line up, especially with him having thicker hair. When you come across a client with a more difficult hairline, you don't just want to rush in and kind of go gung-ho at it and kind of fuck it, let me go ahead and try whatever I need to try, because more times than not you are gonna fuck up and maybe like push a line back. You want to be able to make sure you assess how your client's hairline is growing, his forehead shape as well, and kind of how his bone structure is, and see what would be the best way to kind of fit that lineup onto his head. Now we're just gonna apply the hair fibers. I did use dark brown on him because of course he has dark brown hair. So I'm just gonna apply a nice light layer, make sure it looks very natural for him to wear. And you will see me taking my comb and kind of brushing off any excess, kind of make sure areas aren't as dark. You know, when you do apply hair fibers, you want to make sure you want to create like a more of a natural look. Comb out any excess if there are darker spots. It's real easy to comb out. Just take a comb nice and lightly, go over the hairline and knock any excess hair fibers off. Then after that, of course, you want to re-hit that front hairline just to make sure those hair fibers are all nice and crisp. Of course, you can kind of see just a little bit on that front lineup right there. I'm gonna be working in that just a little bit more just because I wasn't satisfied with how it looked. So you're gonna see me kind of go over that, especially with the straight razor. And then after I get done straight razing him down, which I don't know why I did not record, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean him up behind the ears, make sure all the hair is all nice and taken down, as bald as possible. That's also one thing that I don't think a lot of barbers do. Make sure you take down the hair behind people's ears, bro. I hate when like I see a client with a fresh ass haircut and you bend their ears down, they got hair just poking out the crevices of their ears. Make sure you guys take that down with a straight razor. Very, very simple. Make sure you don't nick your client though. Sanitize your client, make sure you clean them up, wipe them down, and then I'm just gonna add like a little oil sheen. You're gonna see me spraying with a little aerosol oil sheen. Just kind of, it smells really good. I love the smell more than I do what it does. It just smells fucking good. Then dust off your client. Anything that you do see, I thought it was done, but I did see like a little area behind that ear lineup where I did want to fix up. Make sure your client is to your satisfaction. When you are cleaning them up and putting all your products on, you're not just looking for hair to clean up. You are looking for things that you might have overlooked or things that you missed throughout the haircut. I did see, I'm not gonna lie, Dunn actually pointed it out to me when I was taking pictures, and I was like, oh shit, I did forget that I need to clean that behind the ear part up. So go ahead, back over, clean that thing up, and that is a high taper with a 3 on top. I didn't do his beard. He does his beard on his own, so all I did was taper it in on the sideburns. I know I was talking a little too much through that part, but I did have my boy that was sitting there looking like Cheddar Bob. That is my next hair tutorial right there. You guys probably see that on my Instagram as well. I will be pushing out a video next week, so be on the lookout for my boy Cheddar Bob's hair tutorial.